Hi, everybody. Kathy Tooley, CEO for Tools for Success. Thank you for joining us today for curtain number 7, the power of the school board. In the last video, if you haven't watched it, we talked about the experience or lack thereof, unfortunately, in school board members. I want to remind you that this is not an attack to those amazing individuals out there serving on our school boards today. What this is pulling back a curtain to show people what you might not know, that those of us as educators are very, very aware of. So today I want to talk about something that may be uncomfortable, but boy, it's got to be said, and that is the power of our school board. This is a curtain I address in my book, The Education System is Broken, Strategies for Rebuilding Hopes, Lives, and Futures. I want to read you something. Before going any further, let's make sure that this point is very clear regarding what kind of power the school board actually has in school systems. This power will help you understand why no educator will broach this topic of any school board member to anyone that they think could or would repeat it. This curtain is a curtain that every single educator knows, yet will never breathe life to. It is career suicide to say what I'm about to say. It is exposing, it is uncomfortable, and it is truth. And every educator knows it. So I want to read you a story directly from my book, and then we'll talk about it. Teacher A had a student in her class to whom she gave a detention for talking in class, right? Not a big deal. Teachers give detentions all the time, right? What's the big deal? The student went home and told his father, who just so happened to be on the school board. The school board member and the father called the superintendent, questioning the detention. The superintendent encouraged the school board member to speak with the teacher as a parent, not as a school board member. So take off a school board member hat and be a father of a student, his child, who was inappropriate at school and ended up with a detention. The school board member did indeed call the teacher, but even after the teacher explained her perspective on what happened in class that day, which warranted the detention, the school board member did not agree with the detention. The teacher stated that detention would stand. Bold move on a teacher's point. A teacher, when you've got a school board member calling you and really questioning your detention to stand your ground, takes some guts. But she did. The teacher stated that it would stand, and the school board member expressed displeasure in the decision. The school board member called the superintendent back, expressing his concern, and the superintendent called the principal. The principal called the teacher to his office to gain a greater understanding of the situation that caused the detention in the first place. After hearing the teacher's explanation, the principal supported the teacher. The principal called the superintendent back and explained the classroom situation and why he indeed supported the teacher. The superintendent tried to reason with the board member in support of the principal. So follow that chain of command. Principal listened to the teacher and thought, sounds like a pretty warranted detention to me. Didn't go overboard. Not a big deal. I'm going to support you. Principal then has to call the superintendent back and say, I'm going to back her. I think she's right. Matter of fact, I don't think a detention was a big deal. I think I would have supported her even being harsher, but I'm going to support a detention. Everything seems good, right? All's resolved. The teacher feels supported. The student is disciplined. The superintendent supported the teacher. The principal feels supported. Everybody seems happy, right? Seems like the problem's good, right? Wrong. Wrong. If I had a button, I'd hit it. Ready? After the detention had been served, the school board member continued to pick and pick and pick at every single decision the teacher made. Not only that, went on to gain support of other school board members until the superintendent could no longer politically support the teacher or the superintendent, or the principal. Because remember, The superintendent's evaluation is written by that school board. Future decisions made by that teacher were not supported and were frequently overturned until the teacher, the principal, and the superintendent ultimately left, while the school board member sat in glee. 3 outstanding educators left the field, or at least that building, because one child was issued a warranted discipline plan. And that parent decided that that wasn't right. Now, I want to pause here for a minute. In my book, I think I go on to tell 6 or 7 stories, maybe more. These I've seen with my own 2 eyes. I didn't make these up in the cosmos. I've watched them. I've seen them happen. My own self. I have been that principal or that teacher. I have watched school board members be elected and literally walk up to me and say, I will have your job. And they did. Now, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I have a successful company. As you could see me sitting here today, I'm okie dokie. But I want you to know this. I was an amazing educator. I was one of the best. And I say that confidently, not arrogantly. Teaching, as I told you in previous videos, was a calling. I'll bet you if I lined up teachers whom I coached, they would tell you I made a difference in their lives. If I lined up kids who may make comments on this video, they would say, she's a good teacher. And I don't need, and that's not the point of this video, is to get accolades for how great I was. I know how great I was. But what I know is, because I made a decision that I still today stand is a right decision, and I ticked off the wrong person, I didn't have a job. That's too much power. No individual should hold that kind of power over our schools. But it is happening. It is happening. It's disgusting. It's wrong. It's violating. It is on the verge of immoral. Yet it is happening. I have watched colleagues that are some of the best teachers I've ever seen finally throw in the towel because they can't take it anymore. And they go to another school and make a big difference there when they were making a difference now. And as I watch those teachers leave, it's funny because I know why they're leaving. And I want to just cry. But I also understand we all come to a point where we're just beat down, where enough is enough. No human being, especially someone who doesn't have experience in education, should be allowed to do that to our educators. But it's happening every single day. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Go talk to someone. Go talk to an educator who's been around a while, and only if they feel safe, because let me tell you, this is a story they will not tell. Because if it ever gets repeated that they said it, they'll lose their job. I was so scared as a teacher to even talk to a school board member that I almost wouldn't do it alone. Ever. Ever. Because you never know when those words could be twisted, that I didn't mean to be twisted. Now, again, remember, some of you as school board members are watching this, and boy, your panties are in a knot right now. Your panties are tied up because you're saying things like, I would never do that. I don't believe that's happening. Well, first of all, pull your head out of the sand. It's happening. And if you would never do it, then congratulations. Why don't you see to it that your colleagues don't either? Because you know it's happening. You've seen it with your own eyes. I have watched school board members take a vision after a certain teacher or a certain principal or a certain assistant principal. It's literally been sometimes because they dated their daughter and then broke up. That should not be allowed to happen. And I, for one, will have a voice to tell you that it is happening, because I know there are people watching this video that are as mad right now that it's happening as I am. So get intentional to see to it it's not happening in the schools where your own children are going. And thank you. This is one that I dreaded saying, but it had to be said. As always, if you're finding these curtains helpful to you, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the little bell and we'll be sure to let you know we've got a lot more curtains to go. Like and please share. Please share. And as always, thank you. Thank you for being willing to listen, even when it's not comfortable to hear. and thank you for the difference you're making every day. Have a good day, everybody.